Welcome to the Pregnancy Help Podcast. I'm Christine Grimmett. I'm here with Leanna Balmer with Heartbeat International's Mission Advancement Team, and she has a special guest. I'm going to let her introduce her guest in just a moment, but she's there on the ground in Birmingham, Alabama at Heartbeat's annual conference. I'm joining virtually this year, and so it's been fun to sort of tap in, see what's going on with them there in person in Birmingham. I'll mention at the end of this episode where you can go if you'd like to learn more about Heartbeat's conference and some of those workshops that were presented. We do make those available later. And so I'll mention that again at the end. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and turn things on over to you, Leanna.
Thanks, Christine. It is exciting to be here in Alabama. It's been an exciting time of learning and growing and networking with affiliated pregnancy help organizations and medical clinics and maternity housing programs from all across the country and around the world. And what's so exciting is seeing that the vast majority of the men and women here this week and who are serving in these organizations are often volunteers and individuals equipped with the unique skills God has given them, but also their own life experiences that allow them to speak directly to the stories of those served. And we're thrilled to speak with one of those who's in the army of love of those serving in their local communities to offer families a better option than abortion. And so our guest today is Dr. Bob Snyder, and his lovely wife Esther is here with us as well. Dr. Snyder is a recently retired OBGYN who's served for many years in the Pacific Northwest in his own practice and at hospitals, but also with pregnancy centers. And so we're excited to get to hear more of his story today, what drew him into the pregnancy help movement, his perspective on abortion pill reversal, and a lot more. So welcome. Thanks for being here with us today, Dr. Bob.
Thanks, Leanna.
Well, we'd love to have you just share with our listeners a little bit about what drew you into medicine and how you decided to specialize as an OBGYN.
My family doctor was someone that I really looked up to. I grew up in rural Pennsylvania, and he would, when lots of people were sick, he would drive around all night in his VW bug and take care of people all night long and then go to the office the next day. And I just admired how his dedication, how he kept on going. That was something that I thought I wanted to provide also. My intent was to go back to my hometown, be a family doctor. And then as I went to medical school, I had experiences in the operating room, was able to participate in surgeries, did some pediatric clinics. My last rotation was OBGYN. One of the things that I liked was I liked spending some time in the operating room, but I didn't want to spend all day there. I liked doing some office, but I didn't want to be there all the time. And I enjoyed doing deliveries. So OBGYN kind of met all the check boxes.
Yeah. That's great. So as you stepped foot as a new doctor into that field, when did the reality of abortion become something you had to grapple with in your own practice personally?
So abortion was one of those procedures that they let the interns do. And so it was simple enough that when you first started out, that was one of the first things that you did. When I looked at it, I felt as though it made me better at taking care of women with miscarriages, because many times they needed to have a DNC. And the other doctors that I worked with were Christians, and it was kind of one of those things where everybody was doing it, and I fell into that. And it didn't strike me for several years that it was something I shouldn't be doing.
So tell us more about when your perspective started to shift and how God began to convict your own heart and change your practice as a result.
Esther and I moved around a little bit in my early years, and we went to State College, Pennsylvania, where Penn State is. Mm-hmm. One of my colleagues said to me, you are not going to be welcome here if you're doing abortion. And that really kind of surprised me. It was college town. But I accepted that. And that was kind of the first thing that turned me away from it. Now, I still referred women for abortion at that point, but I no longer performed them. After that, I moved to Washington, where we live now, and worked for a Catholic organization. And so couldn't perform abortions. But what the real turning point was my very dear friend, Terry. One night at our small group meeting, we were talking about abortion, and she said, "What do you feel like abortion is right? Is it biblically right?" And she said, "You have to decide whether you're going to just listen to part of the Bible or listen to all of it."
Mm.
And at that point, I made the decision that I was going to listen to everything. And that was something where I really turned 180 degrees.
Mm.
And then we had a conference that we went to with my son. He was 15 at the time, over Lake Church. Rebecca St. James was there.
Mm.
And at the intermission in the concert, there was a group called Life Choices at that time. And they had a little stand there, and I decided to talk to them. And that's what got me down that path.
Yeah. Wow. The power of one person challenging you and your thinking really did change the course of your later medical practice. So prior to encountering the booth for Life Choices at that concert, had you as a doctor heard of a pregnancy center, a pregnancy medical clinic?
I'd never heard of that. And interestingly, a couple of our friends actually started the Life Choices Clinic in Federal Way. And so from church, these women were from church. And so there were ties there that I didn't realize at the very beginning.
Yeah. So tell us more. You met some of the staff and were connected personally with some of the folks involved with this pregnancy center. And tell us more about how you got involved and maybe a highlight of that time for you as you began to serve alongside those offering a very different perspective on abortion than many of your medical colleagues had in the past.
They were opening a brand new clinic. I think it had only been open for a week or two. So it was a beautiful facility. And I went there and met with them. And they asked whether I was interested in doing ultrasounds. So I did ultrasounds. It was just incredibly rewarding. And some of those things I was able to carry into my own practice too.
So stepping into that pregnancy center context for the first time, what was something that you experienced in that setting that was maybe different in the care you could provide in your own practice? Or maybe what is something you wished other physicians knew or understood better about how pregnancy centers serve women in a distinct and unique way?
One of the things that I saw that was pushing women to get abortions was they would have some sort of a barrier. Sometimes it was a financial barrier. Sometimes it was problems in their relationship. Sometimes they didn't have insurance. And what I saw was that Life Choices did whatever they could to remove the barrier that then would allow the baby to live. Sometimes it was adoption, and they facilitated that. So it was whatever they could do to help the mom and the baby. And that just is very different, I think, from the regular medical model.
Yeah. As a physician and someone who went on to serve as the medical director of a large network of pregnancy centers there in the Seattle area, how would you respond to that allegation and accusation from the mainstream media that what pregnancy centers do is not legitimate or valid?
Well, first of all, the ultrasound that's performed is medical. There is some testing, STD testing, pregnancy tests that are also performed, and those are medical. But I think it goes even way beyond that in how they care for women. They provide a service that is so needed at a desperate time in someone's life. And it's fulfilling that. It's not hokey. It's not voodoo. It's real care.
Yeah, real care. We often say at Heartbeat that the answer to abortion is another person, and people being present, coming alongside those men and women who are making a pregnancy decision and offering that incarnational, presence-based care that is focused on removing the barriers you mentioned earlier. Now, during your stint as medical director of a local center, you were also introduced to the work of abortion pill reversal. So tell us a little bit about learning about that for the first time as a physician and going on to join the abortion pill rescue network as a provider.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this to try and remember exactly how I found out about abortion pill rescue. I knew about it at the time that I went to the Heartbeat conference in Dallas, because then I attended a conference there. I attended a meeting. I can't remember exactly how that happened, but as I learned more about it, I decided that was something that I wanted to provide. And being from the Seattle area, I think I may have been the only person in Western Washington that would provide that service. And so, the way that it worked was they would call me when they had someone who was interested in reversal. I would contact them. We would talk a little bit. I would tell them that I was there to help them, and I'd give them my phone number if they needed to call and talk to me. It was a really wonderful experience.
Yeah, and it's been about 6 years now that Heartbeat has managed the Abortion Pill Rescue Network. So you were coming online with the network really in the early days and a key part of helping to build coverage on the West Coast. Is there a particular story that you think of as you look back at those years of taking calls at all hours of the night? Are there any particular stories that stand out to you now?
There was one in particular. It was a woman that I had helped, had given her the progesterone to reverse the abortion pill. And we went on vacation to Hawaii, and we were hiking up Diamond Head. And I'm getting up to the top of Diamond Head, and my phone goes off. So I pick it up, and it was someone that called me and said, "We wanted to let you know that patient that you helped has delivered her baby." And I go, to me, then it was this mountaintop experience. Literal. Yeah. And it was fantastic.
Yeah, and just this week at the conference, we last night had the opportunity to hear from a family who is celebrating a year with their daughter who was saved through abortion pill reversal. Each of our medical providers, people like Dr. Bob, are a key part of starting that process and saying to that woman who is interested in reversal that we're proud of her for making a different choice, to pursuing options available to her. And that's a really important message to a woman in that moment. We're glad you offered that for so many years. Certainly when you were joining the network, it was much smaller. Now we're thankful that we have, I think at last count, over 1,400 medical providers that are part of the Heartbeat Abortion Pill Rescue Network, including hospitals and pharmacies. And that's growing. We're thankful for your part of building that coverage early on. And you all certainly have been supporters, investing in that. I'd love to ask you if you were speaking to another doctor or medical provider who was thinking about getting involved with the work of pregnancy centers in their community, but maybe they're on the fence. How would you encourage them, physician to physician, to think about offering their skills and experience to a local center?
A couple of things. One of them is how important I think it is that we're able to offer a second chance. So they make, these women make a decision based on the information they have, and then with regrets, they want to try and turn things around. And we can do that. And so offering that second chance, I think, is really important. And then the other thing is that we are meeting these women in a very huge time of need. And to be able to go meet with them or talk to them on the phone with empathy and to support them, I think can help to lift them up and carry them along through the time.
And how would you maybe share with a physician who's looking to do more, how they might benefit from their service with the center? How do you think you've been impacted by that service? And what might you share with someone who's exploring stepping into a similar role?
So the biggest impact for me was in praying for the women at Life Choices, that I then carried that into my office. And I think that one of the things that my patients appreciated was when I would say, "Would you mind if I pray for you?" I never, ever had anybody turn me down. And I had somebody call me back and say, "You saved my marriage." Just things that you wouldn't expect that can happen. Go on the adventure and just try it. It's amazing.
That's a great word. It's an adventure, that's for sure. And we're all changed in the process of joining this work, this holy mission. You all have not only served, offered your time and your skill and your family's support and prayers, you've also invested financially in the work of Heartbeat. And so why has that been an important aspect of your commitment to the pro-life movement too? And what might you say to others who might be considering giving to invest in this work?
I love the quote, where your treasure is, there's your heart. And my heart is with the pregnancy help system, the clinics, the people that are, doing the upfront work, and supporting that financially, I think, really helps to say this is how important it is to me.
Where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. And yes, there's a whole network now numbering, I think last count, over 3,700 affiliated clinics and organizations with Heartbeat, but there's unity in that heartbeat of care and concern for the most vulnerable and their families. And we're thankful that that's your heart too. Having been here just a day now, I know you've not been here that long, but what's encouraging you or inspiring you about the future of pregnancy help? You've had a number of years now to see growth in the Abortion Pill Rescue Network. You've been at a couple conferences. What are you struck by being here this week?
One of the things that I'd like to see, even in my own community, is that we would be able to meet women in the emergency room when they come in, having taken the abortion pill, that the emergency room would be able to prescribe progesterone for them. I think having more information come out about what the risks are of the abortion pill, how they're threatened with sepsis, bleeding, even death, and that we would be able to prevent that, I think is just a huge step forward. So I would like to see that would be where we would make it more available to women.
Yeah, and certainly we heard just this morning, Christine, some of the newest research out this week from the Ethics and Public Policy Center, which published a study looking at insurance data, analyzing over 800,000 abortions, and seeing in that data that the complication rate, as you're alluding to, Dr. Snyder, is 22 times higher than the FDA has previously reported. And so certainly the harm of chemical abortion, the harm of taking that at-home abortion pill is much greater than most women think it will be. And you've seen that in your own practice and working at the hospital, the harm that chemical abortion can cause women, certainly the unborn child, but also to women's health long term. So as we're wrapping up our conversation this morning, any final thoughts or parting thoughts that you'd want to share with others listening about the importance of joining in this work now in 2025?
If there are any physicians out there that have interest in working with abortion pill reversal rescue, I would encourage you to get on the website. There is a very brief application process, but part of what they like you to do is to help to provide the data for follow-up in those patients. It's simple to do, and they're making it easy, but I think that would help to just really meet the need that we have out there with women who are having second thoughts and want that second chance.
Absolutely. Those families, that's why we do what we do, to offer that second chance and that second choice, and to be with people as they are navigating tough decisions and need a voice of hope and truth. So we're thankful that you've been part of the network, and thanks for joining us today. And Christine, I think you have some websites you can point us to for where others can go for more information about some of what we talked about today.
Yes, thank you, Leanna. Dr. Snyder, what a beautiful testimony. Thank you so much for sharing with us. If you have been inspired and you would like to know more about the Abortion Pill Rescue Network, you can visit aprnworldwide.com. I'll link to that in the show notes as well. We would love to have more join that network all over. And so you can go there, find out more information. You can contact our team as well if you have additional questions. Also, since they're at conference, and I mentioned at the beginning, we have dozens and dozens of workshops and even some of the keynotes that have been presented this week during that conference. Those are available at heartbeatservices.org. I'll link to that, as well as conference information for next year. So with that, I wish you all a wonderful rest of your day, and thanks for listening to this episode of the Pregnancy Help Podcast.